a young woman by the name of Buff Cobb, came to Chicago with Tallulah Bankhead in a play called Private Lives. And I interviewed her. I was doing an radio interview show at the time called Famous Names. Interviewed her, had a crush on her, eventually wound up marrying her. And then CBS television came out to Chicago looking for new talent. This was in this was 51. We had been doing the Shea Show, it was called, this Mike and Buff radio show for about an hour every night. For an hour every night, 12:30 to 1:30, I guess, or 12 to 1. And they liked what they saw. They brought us east. And we started Mike and Buff on CBS television. I believe it was in June of 1951. And it was in the color studio. They were there was no color television. Color television was just beginning. And there was a competition between RCA on the one hand and CBS Color on the other hand. CBS Color, they had whirling discs, 3 whirling discs that made the color. The disc, one was red and one was green, dots, and I forget what the other one was. I guess maybe it was neuter, and out of that came color. And then that was called non-compatible color. Then there was, because you couldn't get black and white that way. But CBS had invested very heavily, and then there was compatible color on NBC, RCA. But the Federal Communications Commission, in its wisdom, decided in favor of CBS Color. So they started Mike and Buff in color in a studio up at 109th Street and 5th Avenue here in Manhattan. And there are all kinds of experimental programs, one kind or another, were being put on in color there. And Mike and Buff really was, it was a well-regarded, it was an afternoon broadcast, 5 days a week, and eventually became a Saturday night fixture for about a year, sponsored by the Pepsi-Cola company. And I forget exactly when CBS lost the franchise, if you will, for color. RCA won it because it was compatible, both black and white and color, on the same tube. Well, it was good for our show, but by that time our marriage was coming to an end, so all kinds of reasons have been given for losing a show on the air. But this one went off the air for the reason there was no more Mike and Buff were divorced. I think that Harry Belafonte's first television appearance was on that. He was just a brand new performer. Who was the guy who was the man that wrote mystery books, mysteries, wonderful mysteries, tough mysteries? Mickey Spillane, yeah. Harry Belafonte, Mickey Spillane, people vied for the opportunity because it was on, as I say, this was not so much the evening show, but the afternoon show. If you wanted to sell a book or if you wanted to sell your motion picture or whatever, this was the beginning of that kind of thing in television, and this was one of the most interesting and a lot of people watched it to advertise your wares, so to speak. There's always been the exchange of currency between people who want a guest to fill their airtime and a guest who wants the airtime so he can peddle his idea or his book or his movie or his candidacy. And it was a pretty good broadcast.